Hi, class. So, in this lecture, I'm going to briefly talk about article summaries, and we'll talk about what is an article and how to write a short article summary. So, your first assignment in this class is to find 3 journal articles and then write short paragraphs summarizing what those articles are stating, and also writing a correct MLA reference for each of the articles that you found. So let's start with just the basics. So what is an article? So an article is just a published essay. So when I'm, trying to get my work published, I'll, write an essay and then send it off to various journals, hoping that one of them will publish them. And usually they're either published in a book as a chapter, or they're published in a journal, and we call that an article. So just the same as you would read a magazine and there's an article in it, journals are sort of an academic magazine. They're for academics. They include new research, and there's various, whichever discipline you're in or whatever field you're in, there's numerous hundreds of journals that are out there within your field. So I can publish with a Canadian journal if I wrote an essay about a Canadian author, that kind of thing. So you find the journal that kind of is the niche or discipline which you're writing in. And what your article is basically just an essay that's been published, but it's gone through a kind of rigorous process of peer review. So usually before an essay is published, it's reviewed by a panel of experts, and they have the knowledge and understanding to check the accuracy of what you're talking about. So they review the quality and accuracy of any information or data that you would include in your paper. So they're the ones sort of making sure that everything is truthful and true and accurate in your paper. So that's one of the things we look for when we want you to look for research. We want you to find relevant and accurate sources. So we want to make sure that many profs will ask you to find peer-reviewed articles only in your research papers, because that means it comes from usually academic researchers, and that information has been checked and reviewed for accuracy. And then journal articles exist in both print and online formats. So sometimes a journal will be only online and accessed that way. And then sometimes they have published journals that you can, order or subscribe to. In most cases, you have to pay in order to access the information inside journals. And you can find a lot of journal articles on Google just by a Google search, scholarly articles, but sometimes you hit a paywall and it won't let you access the full article. So to get full text of journal articles, you often have to go through the university library to access that information. So whether you're a student or alumni, you have to have that access through the library to get the full text of the article. And often to find the article, we use what is called a database, and that's just a searchable list of many, many, many journals that have, all been sort of digitalized, and it just makes it easier for you to sort of find the articles that you want to find on whichever topic you're searching on. So the topic of an article can be about, it can be anything from, a study of a certain author, study of a certain text. It could be original research, scientific research. It could be sociological research. It could include, data, statistics, that kind of information, or it could be qualitative. It could be, a survey of 100 people or whatever kind of research. There are, published articles about that topic. So that's what I'm going to get you guys to sort of familiarize yourself with in this first assignment, is just to try to find a scholarly article that's been written about whatever subject that you choose to look up, and find what various university research have written about that topic. And there's always something written about it, and the best information is that which has been peer reviewed. So we want you to sort of discover the best ways of finding quality information to use in your research papers. So once you have found the articles that you want to use, I'm asking you guys to write an article summary. And what an article summary is basically just a short description of the main points of that article that you've read. So every article or every essay, published essay, will have key ideas, a thesis statement or argument, and use various forms of evidence. In some cases, if it's a scientific article, it'll describe the experiment that was conducted and provide description of the methods and data related to that experiment. If it's a literary subject, it's usually incorporating evidence from the text itself, and maybe various other sources that it's using to support its argument. But every essay or every article that you're going to find has a thesis statement, so it's going to have a purpose, why it was written in the first place, and it's going to have an argument or something that it's going to sort of put out there as the main idea or ideas expressed in the article. So you're summarizing that information, and it shouldn't be more than, a short paragraph on that topic. Just speaking roughly, a paragraph could be like 150 words or so. And then you'd have your reference in addition to that. So you want to keep it really short and condense that information as clearly as possible. So a good summary is about clearly and expressing that idea, the ideas from the article clearly, so they're easy to understand, and sometimes clarifying ideas so it's more simply expressed. And basically just giving us what that article was about. So yeah, you might cover, what the main point or purpose of that article is, what were the main findings, what conclusions did the authors come up with, and that's basically all you need, or all you can fit into that short paragraph. Okay, so in this example here, this is just one example of an article summary, and I've included it on our syllabus as well. So this is in MLA style, but a typical article summary, it usually starts with the reference, and this is MLA style. So usually, depending on whatever field or discipline you're studying in, there's a specific style of reference that is associated with that discipline. And in English, we use MLA style, which just stands for Modern Language Association style. In other disciplines, they have APA style, which is American Psychological Association. So in English, we use MLA. So you'll hear me talk about MLA quite a lot in this class. And it's just the style of reference, how you organize the information, how it's laid out or formatted, what information is included in the reference, how your in-text citations look. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about MLA style. So just a couple of things to note. So in MLA style, you include both the first and last names of the authors. That's different from APA, where you only use initials. So in MLA, we use both first names and last names, and you're listing the last name in your reference. In this case, there's two separate authors. So there's Alvaro Alonso and Julio A. Camargo. And I've listed the last name of the author listed on the article first, and then his first name, and then the second author's first and last name. You'll note all these periods and punctuation are also important. So in MLA style, the correct punctuation should be used to indicate separation of elements in your reference. And the next part is the title of the article itself, so the title of the essay. This one is Toxicity of Nitrite to 3 Species of Freshwater Invertebrates. And in MLA, we put that information of the title in quotation marks. And then we have it followed by the name of the journal itself. So in this case, it's Environmental Toxology. And that word or that journal title is italicized. So just typically in MLA style, if it's a short text, like an essay, a short story, or a poem, we place the title in quotation marks. If it's a longer work, like a journal, an anthology, a novel, a film, then we italicize the title of that container source. Next, we have the volume number, so volume 21. Sometimes an article will also have a number, so you have volume or issue number, and this is number 1. You have the date of publication, so February 3rd, 2006. And then we have the full page range. So this article is 4 pages long, runs on pages 90 to 94. So we have that information included. We used a online database to find this article. So it was found through the Wiley Online Library. So that's the name of the database that you use. And I'll walk you through how to find that information on the U of R course or library page. And then you have the DOI. This is just the sort of address or number associated with every published article. And so if I was to cut and paste just this DOI and plug it into a Google search, it will pop up this specific article. So the DOI is kind of like the tag that's specific to this article. So it's always good to include that as well because it makes finding the article very simple. If your article doesn't have a DOI, then it usually has a URL, so like a www address. So you want to include that information. And then finally, you include your access date. So this is the date that you found this article. I should update this to be, when I found it recently, but this is the first time I found it. So I have that date. And then in my article summary, it's basically, again, in total, we'll see how much page this is. So all together, just the paragraph itself is exactly 150 words. So that's kind of where I want you to try to get into that range. So 150 to max, 170. Again, you want to just include information that simplifies what that article is about, and conveys the information as clearly and simply as possible. So I'll just read what this article summary says. So in this article, the authors, and in brackets, I've included the authors' names, Alonso and Camargo, examine how the presence of nitrite impacts certain freshwater invertebrate species such as planaria, flatworms, and amphipods, crustaceans. So in that first sentence is basically just telling us what this article is about. So what the authors examined and what they were writing about, so what the purpose was. Next sentence, they explain how high nitrate concentration in freshwater ecosystems is a result of industrial pollution. And I included here a in-text citation. So this is what is called an in-text citation. It includes the author's last names, Alonso and Camargo, and also the page number referenced. So here I'm paraphrasing information directly from the article. So I want to include a citation that refers specifically to that part in the article. And this is a good way to, how to avoid any kind of plagiarism and give proper credit to where the information comes from. So make sure you're including in-text citations in your writing. And then, so they explain, it's just, again, this next sentence just explains, basically further explains what the experiment was about. So to conduct their experiment, Alonso and Camargo collected the species from unpolluted freshwater sources and moved them to aquariums in the laboratory, where they adjusted the nitrate concentrations in the water and monitored the results. So yeah, basically just describing what that experiment was. They measured the mortality, pH, water temperature, dissolved oxygen, and nitrogen concentration of the different species. So here I'm including a quotation. So this is a direct word for word quote or passage from the article. So if it's word for word from the source, then you must put those words in quotation marks to indicate that you are taking the words of the original authors and putting them into your writing. And I've included a page number reference at the end of the sentence to indicate where that information is from. If I had, I put the author's names here, so I don't have to put them again here. So if you have the same source throughout your paragraph, you don't need to keep repeating the last names over and over again. If it's all the same source, you just need the page number. And then, so again, basically talking about their results of their experiment. So the results show that mortality increased with nitrate concentrations and exposure times, with amphipods showing the highest sensitivity. So again, if I'm using the author's direct words, I am putting those words in quotation marks. I'm also blending the quote into my sentence. So I'm not just cutting and pasting a part of the essay and dropping it into my paragraph. I'm blending the quotation into my sentence structure so it reads smoothly. So that's one of the techniques that we'll talk more and more about as we go along, but to avoid what it's called dropped quotes, you have to sort of integrate or blend quotations into your sentence structure. And make sure that you're, even in cases of single words, I've put quotation marks around this word because that's the author's word, not my word. So if I change the word, I could put it outside of quotations, but I'm using the exact word of the author, so I want to make sure that I'm putting that word in quotation marks and giving proper citation for where I found that specific information in the article. And then finally, the last sentence, this article sheds light on an important issue of how industrial pollution changes ecosystems and how certain species are at risk as a result of this toxic runoff. This is more my opinion on the article and why it's important. So that's one of the things I'm asking you to also do in your article summary, is to sort of just offer a little bit of reflection on that article. Did it change your mind about something? Did it shed light on an issue that you maybe didn't look at that as closely as you could have, or something new that they're saying about a topic that's maybe not well known? So basically just end your article summary with a little bit of reflection on your own thoughts about that topic. And that's basically it. So you'll do this process for 3 different articles, all about the same topic. So, you know, if I was doing something about environment effects on animals, this could be one of 3 articles that I find related to that. So I want you to pick one topic, one subject, and then find 3 different articles about that topic, and see what different researchers have found about that issue, and the different takes that they take on, or the different angles that they read that topic through in their journal articles. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what I'm asking you to do for assignment 1, and we'll talk a little bit more in upcoming lectures about how to look over articles and find that information, the relevant information in them, and also review more techniques of how to incorporate quotations, paraphrase into your writing using MLA style.